we're recording. Right, question 6. The diagram shows the curve 8 times arcs in x minus 3 over 2. The endpoints A and B of the curve of coordinates given like that, with little a and little b. State the values of A and B. Okay, so how are we going to think about this? It's only 2 marks for doing this. We could think, what could we think? This is the point, we could use these values here. These are the points where the y value is minus 4 pi. Would that be a sensible way of doing it? Probably would, wouldn't it? So we could think of it that way, or we could think about it as a transformations of graphs thing. Let's do it that way. So if we're thinking about A in part 1, we've got the point A minus 4 pi. So when does 8 sine minus 1 x minus 3 over 2 equal minus 4 pi? Let's work our way through that. That's when sine minus 1 of x minus 3 over 2 equals minus 4 pi over 8, so minus pi by 2. If we do sine of minus pi by 2, we get x minus 3 over 2. Well, the sine of minus pi by 2, remember how the sine graph works, that's going to be minus 1. Because here's our sine graph doing that kind of thing, isn't it? That's not a very good drawing. But there we've got minus pi by 2 is there, and there it's at minus 1. Pi by 2 and plus 1 there. And so we've got x is minus 1 plus 3 over 2, so x is a half, so that's A is a half. We're doing the same thing for the other one, although we probably don't need to go into as much detail, but B, 4 pi, 8 sine minus 1, x minus 3 over 2, that should be a B then, shouldn't it really? B minus 3 over 2 is 4 pi. Rearrange that, we get 4 pi over 8, so pi over 2. This time we get B minus 3 over 2 is plus 1. So B is 1 plus 1.5. 5 over 2b equals 5 over 2. There we go. We found both of A and B quite smartly there. I did lots of working out there, but I think you could have just kind of figured that out on your calculator and come up with those values in various other ways. Part 2. It is required to find the root of the equation 8 sine minus 1 x minus 3 over 2 equals x. Show by calculation that the root lies between 1.7 and 1.8. Well, the way that I'm preferring us to do these is, just wanting to read off the agenda, to keep scooting up, is to rearrange this so that we have an f of x kind of form now. So we're going to say that f of x is 8 sine minus 1 x minus 3 over 2 minus x. That's the equation that we're trying to solve. And we want to sub in our values, so let's sub in f of 1.7 and f of 1.8. If we substitute these in, we get, now which way around is this, do we get them? Is it, I haven't got my calculator with it, is it 1.6 for this one? No, it's not, it's minus 0.1 and 0.6, isn't it? Is it that way around? Is anybody checking these? Minus 0.08914, I think, and 0.6375. I'm hoping that it's that way around. Does that look right? They're the two values. The crucial things here is that we've got a sign change of sign. I'd like us to get into the habit of writing f of x continuous, although it doesn't, you get away without writing that. And the important thing is that we draw a conclusion to end this off. So we've got a change of sign, we've said it's continuous, therefore the root is between those values. Okay, or therefore root, or some kind of closing statement of it. Careful, because we know that we need to be in radians, because we've seen stuff about pi appearing in the question. So make sure that the calculator is in radians as you do that. You must refer to the sign change as being there. It's not enough just to show the two values and say therefore root. It's not enough to just to show the two values and say sign change. You've got to put everything in there. It's kind of quite rigid about getting all the words in there at that point. Next, it says, in order to find the root, the iterative formula, this is part B of this, x n plus 1 is p plus sine q x n. That formula with a suitable starting value is to be used. Determine the values of the constants p and q. Well, okay, this is to solve this equation equals 0. So how has that been arranged to give us that formula? Which x have we ended up with? Well, look, that one had a sign for -1 in it, this one doesn't. So let's try and rearrange that formula. We're looking, to get there, we're looking at rearranging 8 sine -1 x minus 3 over 2 equals x. That's the equation we're trying to solve. So that would be, if we divide by the 8, it looks like that. If we take sine of both sides, it looks like, oh, that's an x then, it looks like that. If we add the 3 over 2, we've got 3 over 2 plus sine an eighth of x. So it looks to me like we've got a value of p as being 3 over 2 and q as being 1/8. That's the iterative formula that we're working with as we do this. Now, you've got to show your iterative process really thoroughly. So it said a suitable starting value. They've given you two options at a starting value because they told you the root was between 1.7 and 1.8. So although it doesn't matter what value you start with particularly, choose one of those two values because they'll be given on the mark scheme and the person will have to work them out. So let's start with 1.7. x1 is 1.7. Let's work out the first value. x2 is 3 over 2 plus sine an eighth of 1.7. And that one gives you, let's stick that in, that gives us 1.7109. Make sure that we're still working in radians. If you work in degrees, you head off to about 1.5. So if somebody ended up with 1.5-ish as your answer, then that means your calculator was in degrees at that point. The next value, if we're subbing 1.7109 in, we get 1.7122. We're just showing the values now, 1.7124. I think we're pretty convinced at this stage that we know what the answer is. x5 is 1.7124 as well. That alone is not enough, because we need to finish the question again by clearly stating our root. The question said, find the root correct, and this was unusual, wasn't it? Correct to 4 significant figures. Okay, so we've got a change from our normal 3 significant figures. So to 4 significant figures, the root is 1.712. That's the final bit of that question. Okay, not a difficult thing, but lots of places to make mistakes on the line. That's maths.